What does that mean? Why don't I have a brief due date? If I had 45 days from what date is what date? 45 days from which date is what date?
You should talk to your case manager.
She won't answer.
So, I see you have a filing that you asked about, and I see it's visible in the system.
Okay, so then they'll probably get back to me in a day or so if it's something is not.
Or you can check your e-services account, your e-services inbox, just in case if it's returned for any reason, if it's deficient.
Okay, so right now I'm fully compliant as far as I understand.
You have a filing. I can't determine if you're compliant on anything or not. I do not see a brief due date. If that's what you're asking, I see you have a filing.
Okay.
But monitor your inbox if there's any returns.
At the moment, there are none. Unless
Okay.
Unless...
For any future, if there's any, just monitor your inbox if there's any returns.
I'm asking, do I owe anything else? Because I've fully complied as far as I understand. And someone's got to say...
That you asked about.
Yeah, someone's got to say, you appear to have everything in, Johnny. And then I'll say, great.
Well, as of now, you do not have a brief due date. You asked about a brief. You filed a document.
As far as I know, the practice book says you're going to tell me my due date.
And I'm looking at the system. You don't have a brief due date set. So you have to wait until your brief due date is set before you can file one. So until your brief due date is
That's
set,
not what I'm told.
You're cutting me off. I need you to stop talking. Until your brief due date is set, that's when you can file your brief. So you have to wait until your brief due date is set. That's when you can file your brief. That's it.
So you're going to return it saying it's not due yet.
I'm not going to return it. It's going to be reviewed by your case manager.
Who doesn't call me and doesn't...
I don't know anything about that. So when your brief due date is set, that's when you can file your brief. The document that was filed will be reviewed by your case manager, and that's all I can say. And that's all I have to say about that topic.
Okay. Have a good day.
Bye.
Okay, so... let's call the chief case coordinator.
Chief Court Administrator's Office.
Okay, so sorry to bother, but I've called the appellate court once a day. They won't answer any questions. They will not assign the date that the brief I'm required to file is due. So they will not accept a brief until they assign a brief due date. Are you aware of that?
I am not aware of that.
Okay, so here we go. I'm told that I can't file my final brief until you guys say I can, and you're not telling me when it's due, and you're not going to accept one if I file one, which violates every law in the practice book. So you guys are breaking every administrative law there is. And by the way, this is my 62nd appeal. I am pro se, and you've never, ever not dismissed a case I filed. And I'm accusing these judges of treason. And I filed a habeas corpus in my case, which required a hearing according to state law. Why wasn't the hearing habeas corpus done? And why won't they give me the brief date, which it's when it's due? I'm just getting clarification from you, and I don't even know your name. I don't need your name. I need to know why they're not accepting my brief. Because a Chinese man determined the President of the United States. His name is in my document.
Okay.
He's a Chinese national, and you're not accepting my brief, I'm told. And you're not assigning me the date that it's due, though I've met every requirement, according to the guy who I just spoke to, who won't tell me his name.
So you did speak to somebody in the
Just
clerk's
now.
office?
Just now. I spoke to the guy. I know his voice. He's a black guy. I know that. And
How do you know that just from his voice?
well, I just spoke to him. I'll play you the tape. How do I know it? Because I'm smart.
Okay.
Why? He's the guy that said he was Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
He's civil to me 90% of the time. I only asked him a simple question. Is everything in that I owe you? He said, it appears that you have a brief in that we won't accept because you haven't been assigned a brief due date. I'll send you the recording when we get off. I asked them specifically to tell me what I owe them, and they refuse on tape. Because every time I file an appellate court case, it gets dismissed automatically, and they've never overturned the lower court's decision. However, in this case, they gave immunity for a Chinese national to determine that Biden was president, when in fact there's evidence suggesting that Connecticut hacked all the swing states and changed the votes, because I have the database. I bought it. Bought it in Illinois. I got another one in Arizona. And what I'm telling you is that LHS is completely hackable. So is GEMS. No ink changes the vote. Connecticut paid No Ink to change the votes up. That's the contract. If we change the vote between 1 day after the election to 60 days after the elections, which they did repeatedly, and I have the amount of money they paid to change the vote, which is illegal. Not only that, judges were paid. I will soon have that data. I'm good at that. So what judges were bribed? Don't go there. I want to go to Wendy's instead. My dad told me not to go there, so I'll leave you alone. Have a great day. I do want to know when the brief is due.